The president got booed at the World Series a few days after we found out that his lawyer had butt dialed a reporter. For more on this, it's time for a closer look. Now, obviously, those things are not related. It's just a sign of how crazy everything is right now. On Friday, we found out that President Trump's personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, had accidentally butt dialed a reporter twice, leaving voicemails about Ukraine and Rudy's need for cash, which means we are officially at the point where these guys are confessing out of their mouths and out of their asses. The next time they talk about leaks, remember, they mean Rudy's ass. And then less than 2 days later, everyone had to shift from butt dial gate to the news that the leader of ISIS had been killed after the president cryptically tweeted, "Something very big has just happened." He tweets about a huge intelligence and military victory for the United States, like a stepdad who just scored backstage passes to Hootie and the Blowfish. "Kevin, I know you're not my biological son, but you were about to wish you were because something very big has just happened." And yet another sign of just how much of a roller coaster Trump's presidency has been. In that 2-day span, he went from the low of his personal lawyer butt-dialing a reporter to the high of killing the world's most wanted terrorist, and then that same day, back to the low of getting booed at the World Series.
President Trump greeted by boos by many at Game 5 of the World Series between the Astros and the Nationals.
The president can personally lead the United States.
Now, you may think that I have 2 beers right now to celebrate Donald Trump getting booed, but I'm actually holding 2 beers to celebrate this guy who took a ball in the chest last night rather than drop his. That guy had a better night than the President of the United States. That guy right there. That guy took a ball to his chest rather than drop his beers and jumped ahead of Joe Biden in the primary. But really, the best part was just watching the joy drain out of Trump's face as he realized he was getting booed. I mean, look at that. He's like a kid on Christmas who sees a giant present and then opens it, and it's just a box full of packing peanuts and a Yankee candle. What scent is this? Damn it! Now, again, this raid was a major military and intelligence victory for the United States, and yet, even in announcing such a huge achievement, Trump couldn't help but do what he always does, make it super weird.
Today, President Trump announced that ISIS leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi was killed in a raid by U.S. Special Forces in northwest Syria overnight.
I got to watch it in the Situation Room, and we watched it so clearly. We had absolutely perfect, as though you were watching a movie. It was, that and the technology there alone is really great.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if, to keep him busy while they carried out the mission, they made him watch an actual movie. It was Tom Cruise was there. He put on his flight suit, jumped out of the plane. And, you know, just let me assure you, the whole mission strictly followed what they in the military call Ghost Protocol. There were times when Trump seemed much less specific about basic facts of what had happened and how it was carried out.
Which special operations teams were involved?
Many of them, and at the top level.
That is the face of a man who does not know the names of the teams. That is the face of a man who is still 50-50 on whether Navy SEALs are actual SEALs. He's not sure, but he knows. He knows the window has closed and it is too late for him to ask. So, General, to congratulate the Navy SEALs, what do you think? Like a bottle of scotch or maybe like a bucket of fish? The scotch? Yeah. Now, there might be some people out there thinking to themselves, maybe Trump deserves less credit for this than the actual military and the intelligence officials who carried out the mission. And by some people, I'm referring specifically to 2012 Donald Trump, who tweeted, "Obama deserves much less credit for the killing of bin Laden. The praise goes to our brave military and intelligence officers. And stop congratulating Obama for killing bin Laden. The Navy SEALs killed bin Laden." What's amazing to me is not only the fact that there's an old Trump tweet for everything, but also how many there are. All of his tweets should have come with an automatic disclaimer at the bottom that said, "Unless I'm president, ha-ha," in which case, I believe the exact opposite. In fact, In a 2011 TV interview, Trump even went out of his way to insist repeatedly that Obama should not get credit for killing bin Laden because it was an easy decision.
Killed bin Laden.
He didn't kill bin Laden. You know, he gets so much credit for that. Okay, excuse me.
He authorized it.
Excuse me.
He had the guts to make that decision.
And the genius, excuse me, guts. I don't know why Obama gets credit for the whole bin Laden thing. He's sitting there. He's got three choices. Leave him alone, which nobody would do. Take him out with a missile, or take him out with the military. So he said, take him out with the military. Okay. Congratulations. I keep hearing about, oh, bin Laden. The military did an incredible job. And they called him and they said, we have him. And he said, go get him. What's he going to say? Don't get him? And he gets all this credit? It's a lot of crap.
You know, if cable news wanted a dissenting voice to come on and criticize 2019 Donald Trump, all they'd have to do is hire 2011 Donald Trump. I mean, it would be a lot of fun to watch.
It is a tribute to the courage of our armed forces and to the decisiveness of our commander-in-chief, the President of the United States.
The military did an incredible job. And they called him and they said, we have him. And he said, go get him. What's he going to say? Don't get him? And he gets all this credit? It's a lot of crap.
Trump then went on to tell a completely fabricated story about how he was the first person to warn of the threat posed by bin Laden before anyone else even knew who bin Laden was, a claim that has no basis in reality.
You know, if you read my book, there was a book just before the World Trade Center came down. And I don't get any credit for this, but that's okay. I never do. I said, there is somebody named Osama bin Laden. You better kill him or take him out. Something to that effect. He's big trouble.
He doesn't even have the energy to lie convincingly. You know someone's lying when even they say something to that effect. It's like if your wife confronted you about where you'd been all night, you said, honey, I was at the office, or something to that effect. Trump also kept up his ongoing war with Democrats in Congress when he told reporters he had chosen not to notify House Speaker Nancy Pelosi about the raid because he didn't want the operation to leak.
And have you notified the congressional leaders about this, Pelosi?
We've notified some. Others are being notified now as I speak. We were going to notify him last night, but we decided not to do that because Washington leaks like I've never seen before. No, I didn't. I didn't do that. I wanted to make sure this kept secret.
I'm sorry, but it seems weird to criticize Pelosi for leaks, considering every time your lawyer farts, he FaceTime CNN. Anderson, what do you want? You called us. Oh, Rudy, this is why you can't eat chili. Now, the timing of Rudy's butt dial is not ideal for Trump because today Democrats announced they will hold a vote on an impeachment resolution on Thursday. So as the impeachment inquiry ramps up, this is who Democrats are dealing with.
Rudy Giuliani. There is no elegant way to put this, but he butt-dialed an NBC News reporter last week, inadvertently leaving a voicemail message that no one was supposed to hear.
Do you know how hard you have to sit down on a cell phone to unlock it and then call someone? I mean, what was Rudy doing anyway? What are you doing, Rudy? Oh, I'm just returning some calls. Now, Rudy butt-dialed the reporter not once but twice, and on one of those voicemails, he could be heard discussing a mysterious plan involving Bahrain and a need for hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash.
Tomorrow, I got to get you to get on Bahrain. You got to call. Got to call Robert again tomorrow. Is Robert around? The problem is, we need some money. We need $20,000.
Used to be that if you were in law enforcement and you wanted to catch someone talking about a mysterious plan involving Bahrain and hundreds of thousands of dollars, you needed an undercover cop and a surveillance van. Now all you need to do is sit around and wait for Rudy Giuliani's phone to slide down between his chair and his butt crack. He's talking about the cash, and now he's making a handoff, and I'm sorry, there's a sound. It's, I think it's someone letting the air out of a balloon. As Democrats intensify their impeachment inquiry and prepare for a Thursday vote, this is who they're up against. So if you're a member of Congress who gets a call from Rudy Giuliani, just remember, you might hear a lot of evidence, but you also might hear
A lot of crap.
This has been a closer look.